Howdy folks, and welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles. Sadly, Rita is away in Belgium restoring a Churchill tank this week, so it's just, well, it's me and all my friends. Still, at least Alexa won't let me down. Alexa, sing me a song.
Well, my Wi-Fi left me, and I'm out in the rain.
Wow.
Those last few answers.
Alexa, shut up. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about this. I wonder if Eddie's interested. Of course, I'll have to make preparations before I invite Eddie around to take part in this episode. But that shouldn't take too long. Too close! Back off, motherfucker! Don't worry, it's not real. It's an airsoft gun.
Yes.
Eddie! Welcome!
Thank you. Hello, Will.
Man, I'm taking this off. It is far too warm. The country's in the grip of a heat wave at the moment.
I have a small dog.
Yes. Boo always gets excited when Eddie's around.
Normally means he's going for a whiskey Alpha Lima Kilo.
Yes, we can't say the word.
Because he'll get very excited
he's a smart
and then
dog,
very disappointed.
but he can't spell. Right, you can take that.
Okay.
So, Eddie, what have you been up to? How have things been?
Oh, wonderful.
There we go, better. No t-shirt of the week this week, by the way, but I do have a vest of the week. We were going to be going to MCM London Comic Con in May, weren't we?
Yeah, apparently it's cancelled for some reason.
Yeah, there was a plague or something.
Zombie apocalypse
Yeah.
or something.
So I was going to go Sons of Anarchy. Hopefully you can see that without too much bother. And this is the first time I've actually worn it. So I was determined to get some use out of it.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, yes, also because I'm now filming on the brand new camera, which is why this is going out in 4K, for those of you with the monitors that can support that. That means I've got spare cat camera. Means I can film this and stick it up. Hey. Box. Cat. Happy cat. Found a box. Doesn't matter what you buy for their cats, they're always happier with the box that it came in.
Yep.
Anyway, that's enough of that. So, you're a cider drinker, aren't you, Eddie?
I am, yes.
So you've brought cider along for the beer of the week. What's
Yes,
that?
I'm going with Hazy Hog. I haven't tried it yet.
Hog's Back Brewery Co.
Yeah. You know me, I like something with a funny picture on it.
That's true. I think, what's your favourite wine?
Oh,
Is it Monkey Blood or something like that?
they stopped making it, which was,
was it
Monkey
Bicycle?
Puzzle.
Monkey
it was called
Puzzle.
Monkey Puzzle. It was
Yeah.
a bottle of red wine. It's a Merlot Shiraz blend. And I tried it because of the label, but loved the flavour of it.
Yeah.
But I literally bought it because it had a...
Yes, this is Eddie's criteria for buying things. Does it have a funny label or a stupid name?
Yes.
And
Essentially.
you've stumbled across some good stuff using that method.
Yeah.
But you've also had to drink an awful lot of piss.
Yes, I have.
So you're on the Hazy Hog cider. I'm on again some more of the Australian stuff that I got. There's this website here in the UK, sansa.co.uk, South Africa, New Zealand, Australia, Sansa, and they basically import all kinds of stuff. I suspect they get most of their business from expatriates,
Yeah.
Kiwis, Aussies, and South Africans who live
I would
here
hope
in the
those
UK.
would be the expats you were talking about, yeah.
But if you're trying to get decent Australian beer in this country, you basically have to go through specialist suppliers because the only stuff that we get in supermarkets is that Foster's piss. So I'm on the Tooheys Extra Dry, which is low carb, 30% less carbs than regular beer.
I'm saying nothing.
What?
I'm having full fat, proper nasty,
Oh,
low fat, low carbs.
it's good. It's decent.
I'd take your word for it.
Yeah, it's very crisp and fresh, straight out of the fridge.
During my time in South Africa, I found my favourite cider in the world, Hunter's Gold.
Ah, yes.
I remember telling you about it,
Yes.
and you looked up and found you could get
they
it on
didn't
there,
do it on this website, but they didn't have any in stock at the time,
which is a shame.
which is a shame. The only lagers that they do from South Africa are Castle Lager, which is basically South Africa's version of Foster's.
Oh dear.
It's cold, it's wet, and it's fizzy.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but they do all kinds of Fanta in South Africa that you don't get anywhere else.
Yes.
Well, you don't get in this country, like Fanta Grape.
Yeah, you can get it at specialist retailers. There's one round the corner from where I work that does all the flavours, but
Wow.
most of them are in from America, but some of them
Yeah.
are in from South Africa.
Yeah.
But again, rather than it being 50p a can, it's £1.50 a can.
Yes, of course. Doesn't travel well.
Doesn't travel cheaply, let's just say that.
So, those of you who are wondering who the hell this is Eddie, the world famous incompetent camera minion, who hasn't had to film anything in years.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
People still call me it though. Occasionally people recognise who I am. And I'm always the incompetent minion. Sometimes it's the incompetent camera minion, but just the bit they remember is the incompetent bit.
Part. You know, it comes to something. When you and me are a team, and you're remembered as the incompetent one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you happy there, Boo? I think he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed your Uncle Eddie, didn't you? Well, anyway, Akazuki's busy doing a snake impression on the carpet.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, yes, Eddie. So I'm sure I have explained it, but it would have been years ago. The reason I know Eddie, probably my longest friend, because
I'm quite tall.
Because you're quite tall. That's
Sorry.
as you can see, he has the Navy sense of humour, but you were not in the Navy, even though
wasn't.
you served with the Navy.
Yes, it's quite weird because whenever I'm talking about my best stories, I have to say when I was with the Navy.
Not when I was in the Navy. Yeah.
And I do it so much that at work they bought me a T-shirt that literally says "When I was in the Navy," and I can't wear it because I wasn't in
weren't
the
in the
Navy.
Navy, yeah.
I've always made it clear I was either with the Navy or something that happens in the Navy, but I never was.
So Eddie served on numerous warships and served in a couple of wars and active conflicts. And you were a civilian the whole time, weren't
Yep, absolutely. Even when they should have signed me up
you? Yes.
and given me the extra pay.
Eddie worked for the NAFI, the
Yeah.
Navy Army Air Force Institute.
Or no ambition and fuck all interest.
Yes. Which are basically the military shopkeepers.
I was a shopkeeper.
Yes.
I managed or assisted in a shop for 12 years.
Yes. At sea.
At sea.
What's supposed to happen? Or you're given the option, because it's certainly in the first Gulf War. The canteen manager and the canteen assistant, can man or can ass, on board HMS Brazen, my first ship in the Gulf War, were recruited into the Navy for the duration of hostilities.
Yeah, that's what's...
So that, if anything happened and they were captured,
They're protected
they're
by the
protected
Geneva
by the
Convention.
Geneva Convention, because
Yeah.
otherwise they're civilians.
And they're open to torture and all
Yeah.
sorts of wonderful things.
Of course, because that would have saved them if the Iraqis captured anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you're in the military. Oh, we can't torture you then.
Yeah, that's a known system for working. But yeah, it's nice to have the idea of some protection.
I always remember when we went to the Fleet Air Arm Museum
Yeah.
and they had the working carrier flight deck thing.
Yes, and they had
We went
the
around
NAFI in
inside the
there.
island. You got really excited when you saw the 1950 or the 1970s NAFI shop
Yeah.
inside the museum.
Here's the thing, I'm pretty sure that when I left in 2012, they still had some of the stuff that was stocked in there.
Yeah, they were still
from
selling
that
some of the
date, you know.
Still selling some of the stuff that was in the museum.
Yeah, it's yeah, but oh yeah, oh Naffy, it was so.
You should have seen his little face. We're going there because if you ever been to the Fleet Air Arm Museum in Yeovilton, it is fantastic. I kicked myself the whole because I was actually based at Yeovilton for 6 months before my first tour down the Falklands.
Yeah,
and the museum is just down the road. It's walking distance
I bet you never
from
did
the
it
air
once.
station, and I never went there once. And it wasn't until I left the Navy that I
Yeah.
went there, and I could have gotten in free when I was in the Navy.
Well, you did that with loads of things,
Yeah.
didn't you? All these things you could have got in free. When
HMS Victory in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Naval ID card holders can get on to all of the historic dockyard attractions for free. And I never did until after I left the Navy. I thought, I'd like to film this.
When my cousin was like 7 or 8, I took her around some of the sites in Gosport and Portsmouth, and we got into the submarine museum, and I flashed.
HMS Alliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Submarine museum in Gosport, and I flashed my NAFI ID, and they were like,
Yeah, what hell?
"What ship are you on?" HMS Manchester. I feel for you. You can get in for free. That was literally what she said, and I had no response for that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
HMS Manchester was my last ship.
yeah.
It wasn't that it was a bad ship. It was a Type 42 destroyer.
Grey Sleek Harbinger of Death.
Yes. Sleek grey messenger of death praying for war. Her Majesty's grey funnel shipping lines.
The Grey Funnel Line.
Great big war canoe. But it wasn't that it was a bad ship. It was decent. It was just that I was over 40 at that point,
Yeah.
and it was a South Pacific deployment, and fuck me, it was hot.
Yeah. One of the things I noticed about those, because I served on many Type 42 destroyers, is that when you're talking to older people, they're like, "Yeah, but that's got air conditioning."
No,
in
it doesn't.
Not really. It will blow hot air at you.
Yes, it
And
just
often if you-
circulates hot air around the ship, doesn't it?
If you turn the air conditioning on, the heat that's required to generate the air conditioning overpowers the cold air that it might.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. British warships have had that going all the way back to like the First World War. They were great in cold weather,
Yeah.
not so good in warm weather.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been from South Georgia in the Antarctic to the equator. Hot. Look at him.
Look at this hot little dog. Do you need some water, Boo? You need some water. Do you need some water, Boo Boo? You can have a sniff. You can have a sniff. Sniffy sniff. There's some water just over there. Hey, Boo.
Yeah, but he might miss out on something.
He might miss out on something. Maybe I should go and get a bowl of water and bring it in.
Yeah, maybe just put it there.
That would be asking for trouble.
It would.
Okay, I'm going to cut this here and go and get Boo a bowl of water, because he doesn't know. Boo tends to, when we first got Akazuki, for example, or when Rita first arrived with the cats, he didn't like them. He wasn't aggressive towards them, and they didn't have a clue what he was. But he's fine with them now. And then we got Akazuki, and Akazuki was like, "What the hell is this?" He was fine with Akazuki because he was used to the other two cats by then, but Akazuki was like, "Nope, don't want to know." And she's fine with him now. They give each other a sniff and all that, but he tends to keep to the downstairs part of the house, and the cats tend to keep to the upstairs part of the house, which means he doesn't know where the water bowls are up here. So I'm gonna do a quick edit here, and I'll be back with a water bowl for young Boo because he really looks like he needs a drink. Yes, Boo, we're gonna get you some water. Yes, Boo. Yes, we are. Okay. What's this, Boo?
What's this?
You want a drink?
Oh,
There we
come
go.
on, mate.
Come on.
Yeah.
Have a drink.
Riveting, this, isn't it?
This is the quality entertainment you all tune into my channel for. Dog drinking.
Where were we?
I don't know. I don't think it really matters.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
I print out a script. I sit in front of the PC and I go through PC gaming news,
Yeah.
and I generate a list of stuff to talk about.
I'm definitely the man to talk with about that. The man who stopped playing PC games about 2-3 years
Yes,
ago.
you've got a PC and he uses it to play mobile games.
Yeah. Yes.
He's not even a console peasant.
I used
He's
to be.
lower than
I
that.
started a console peasant, then I became PC Master Race, and I've kind of slipped out of it.
You've just, I don't know, I shouldn't even know. This whole social distancing thing isn't because of COVID-19, it's because he's a bloody mobile game pleb.
Yeah.
Anyway, So there is actually quite a bit of interesting news this week.
Okay, go on.
which
I'll pretend to know what you're talking about.
All right, so this may actually be of interest to a lot of you because, as you all know, Mingles with Jingles is funded entirely by everybody who supports me on Patreon. It's
Yeah.
the reason why this video is 100% advert free unless I accidentally sneak some music in and a record company claims it and monetises it. But there's two bits of news just came out this week about Patreon. First, one of the issues with Patreon is that you can only pledge in dollars.
Right, okay, yeah.
And depending on exchange rates, that might not necessarily be good.
Yeah.
This week, Patreon just announced that everyone in the UK, EU and US can now pledge in their local currency of euros, British pounds or US dollars. This will help prevent you paying extra conversion fees from your own bank or card when pledging in a currency that's not your own. So any new visitors to my Patreon page, this by the way is Patreon's own suggested messaging, will see my tiers priced in the local currency of euros, dollars or pounds. For those of you who'd like to switch your preferred currency, you can follow these steps. It's kind of useful information. I thought I'd mention it. At patreon.com, hover over your avatar on the top right of the screen, click Manage Memberships, find that page, then click Edit. Under Currency, choose your preferred currency, click Update to save your settings. And that's it.
No.
So that's a bit of useful information.
It's actually making it easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier, and it may even end up saving you some money. However, there's other news about Patreon, which I'm sure you have no idea about.
No, none whatsoever, but the however kind of indicates possibly a negative connotation.
Yes. Patreon may be in the shit. As in bankruptcy level in the shit. So the following is quoted from a blog that because I was aware of what was going on, but I just didn't understand it. So I googled it and I found a blog that explained what's happening in words that I could understand, so hopefully you can understand it too. This blog was called The Laugh Button.
Okay.
So a perusal of Twitter on the last couple of days showed a lot of creators on Patreon getting a bit worried about the fan-supported platform going away. The reason might be comedian Owen Benjamin. I've never heard of him.
No, me neither.
So the former Sullivan and Sons star became a lightning rod for controversy the last few years as he began to grow disillusioned with Hollywood and take progressively more aggressive and controversial stances online and in his webcasts. He's been accused of all different kinds of hate speech and anti-Semitism, which eventually led to his suspension and later banning from most social media platforms and YouTube. Leading the comedian to self-produce his own specials and host a subscription show on his own website. It's fine, you know.
Yeah.
If you're paying for the platform, you can say and do whatever you like. But one of the platforms that Benjamin was kicked off was Patreon, where Benjamin could continue to work and get funded by his fans. Upon being ousted, Benjamin sued Patreon for the dismissal at a cost of $3.5 million and encouraged his fans to do the same, and that's the important part.
Encouraged his fans.
He encouraged his fans to do the same, and 72 of them did. All filing claims against Patreon citing the same reasons Benjamin claimed, that by banning a creator it disrupts the economic relationship between the creator and the backer. This is the part that I didn't understand. I mean, how can you sue Patreon? How can somebody's Patreon supporters sue Patreon for Patreon kicking somebody off Patreon? I didn't understand, but apparently it's an American legal term called tortious interference with a business relationship.
Okay. So not any clearer, sorry.
Well, here's where it gets interesting, and it's mostly Patreon's fault. In the past, tech companies were almost totally protected from these types of lawsuits due to the congressional law that encourages free speech. However, because of this autonomy, many companies have got sloppy with their terms of service. Patreon's terms of service stated that anyone who wants to sue the company must do so through arbitration. And Patreon pays for the arbitration fees.
Like an ominous, isn't it?
Which, you know, in theory, this makes sense because individual customers with small claims can do so without a lawyer. But here's the loophole. Because they have to be individual claims. There can't be class action. So a class action would be where everybody
bands together.
All 72 band together, hire a lawyer.
One big suit.
Everyone
wins or everyone loses.
Yeah, exactly. But you can't do that according to Patreon's terms of service. They have to be individual claims. So that's 73, including the original suit from Benjamin Owens. three
you want to get down?
separate claims
There you go.
that all have to go through arbitration. Yeah. See, in California, the law states that arbitration fees must be paid in advance. So if the average arbitration, which costs around $10,000, which means Patreon is going to have to pay $750,000
In arbitration alone.
even before it goes to arbitration.
Wow.
So before they even go to court,
Wow.
Patreon are going to be down $750,000, and that's with just 72 of Benjamin
Ouch.
Owen's supporters filing lawsuits in California.
That's going to hurt. Yeah, they've
Yeah.
kind of shot themselves in the foot
Yeah,
on
so
that one.
Patreon could be bankrupted before any money, if any, is even given to the claimants. Even if the claimants lose, because the claimants aren't likely to be able to afford the average $10,000 fee. So even if Patreon wins and the costs go
Yeah.
to the the losers, they're not going to get the money
they're
back
getting
because the
the
people
money,
can't pay it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, in the whole Muck libel case years ago, some people said some stuff about McDonald's in a leaflet, and McDonald's said, prove it. And they made a big thing about, we shouldn't have to prove it. And then the courts found them, McDonald's, innocent on most things and asked the people to pay them back the money. And they said, we can't afford it and we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
McDonald's never saw any of the money.
Yeah.
I'm not crying for McDonald's, they're doing all right. But...
They're getting
But it's
They
one
do
thing
okay.
to get the. But if they
It's
can't,
one thing to get the ruling in your
Yeah.
favour, but if you can't reclaim the court
then-
fees,
then you're bollocks, really.
yeah. Patreon could be going bankrupt. I mean, again, this is with just 72 people filing suit. The news is now out. I mean, I've now heard of it, and if I've heard of it, I guarantee you most of Benjamin Owen's supporters have heard of it.
Yeah.
And what if that number doubles?
Yeah.
Or what
co-
if 700 people?
Yeah.
What if 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Patreon's done. Oh, I need to get the dog cam out. Boo's found a
Boo's
ball.
found one of the cat's toys.
He's found a cat toy.
Go on, Boo. Get it, Boo. Get it, Boo.
Hang on.
Go on.
Come on, read the built-in memory. Get on with it. There we go.
Get it, Boo.
Go on, Boo Boo.
Go on, get it.
That's it, Boo. Mighty hunter that you are.
Hunter of small fairy balls.
Yes, he is. What a good dog.
Kill it, Boo. Kill it.
He doesn't need any encouragement. He's savage. Right, that's enough of that.
Anyway,
Yeah, I haven't actually gotten around to setting this up in one spot. We've got Crystalline sleeping in the corner over there. Right, just being generally disinterested in everything. Gigi's outside playing in the garden because she's the one cat we've got who will go into the garden. Crystalline doesn't go outside. Even if you give her the choice, she won't do it.
yeah.
And Akazuki, if you take your eyes off her for 2 minutes, will try to climb the fence.
Yes.
But Juicy, she's great. She just
Yeah.
lies around,
chills.
chills, sniffs things, sleeps, and scratches at the door when she wants to be let back in. She's great.
And we'll then show you her leg.
Oh yeah, she has a very pretty leg. She kind of sits there. She's with the leg up here,
Just the one leg.
just the one leg up here, and then she realises you're looking at her, and she gives you that sort of "look at my leg, look at it" kind of look on her face.
I'm laughing because I've seen it and I know. And it's almost, you can almost imagine Eric Cartman's voice doing it.
Yes, look at my leg, look at it. That's my shit impression of Eric Cartman. But anyway,
I
So-
prefer to think of it as your good impression of Juicy.
yes. So anyway, here's the thing: if Patreon does go tits up, that's a lot of people are going to be in the shit.
Yeah.
Innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. People like the YouTube channel CCP Grey.
No.
Okay, well he does this really good informational videos,
Okay.
fantastic videos, and he's 100% funded by his Patreon supporters.
Ah, yeah, he's properly then.
And that's just one example. Now it's not quite that bad for me.
No, yeah, you have like one video supported by it and all your others.
Yeah, I mean Patreon probably accounts for slightly more than half of my income.
Ouch.
That's because YouTube is shit. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. However, if the worst does come to the worst, there is another option. For those of you who care, float plane. No? Okay,
No.
so for the last 6 months or so, I've been double uploading everything that I upload to YouTube and to Floatplane, which was supported by Linus Tech Tips. You've never even heard of... Wow. What rock do you live under? Okay, anyway, they're a massive tech YouTube channel. They're really, really good. And if the worst happens, and you may wish to, if you do support me on Patreon, I mean, thank you. But you may wish to consider switching to Floatplane. So Floatplane is basically, it's not quite an alternative to YouTube. You can host your videos on Floatplane. And people sign up. It's a subscription service.
Yeah.
So I have 2 tiers on it. $1 a month, which gets you access to all of my videos. You get all my videos on YouTube for free anyway, but on YouTube you get advertising. Floatplane, there's no advertising.
Right, okay.
Because you pay a $1 a month subscription, or
Yeah.
you can pay a $3 a month subscription, and as well as getting all of the videos advert free, you also get the opportunity to download the videos.
Oh, yeah, so you can keep them forever.
Yeah, something that you can
So
do
if something
on YouTube.
like the apocalypse happens
Yeah.
and you don't lose everything.
Yeah, something that you can do on YouTube, but not through YouTube. You have to use third-party software to do it. But
Yeah.
you can do that on Patreon. Oh, not Patreon, sorry. Floatplane. So Floatplane, they're not trying to compete with YouTube, but they're sort of like an alternative to Patreon.
So they're kind of a combination of Patreon and YouTube,
yeah.
but in a smaller setting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Floatplane follower of Forgotten Weapons.
Okay, I've had actually heard
Yeah.
of those. Yeah,
Ian McCullum,
Yeah, he goes.
Gun Jesus. Because
Yeah.
he looks like Jesus.
Yeah, that's why I've heard of them, because you got a T-shirt, didn't you?
A poster,
A poster.
which I've framed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no.
it's quite sacrilegious.
Yes.
He's there with because he's written a book on French firearms of the 18th, 19th century, and he's holding the book. He's dressed like Jesus, and he's got the book in one hand, and he's got an AR-15 in the other hand.
Yeah.
I like it, and I've got it framed.
Fair enough.
So,
Yeah,
but
no, that's why I've heard of him. I knew the name.
Yeah, I watch all of his videos on Floatplane rather than on YouTube.
Fair enough.
So yeah, there's that. Anyway, moving on. That's the sponsored section of the video out of the way.
Yep.
So there was something I heard this week. Okay, it's bizarre, the things that will just piss me off for no good reason.
Go on then.
And I can't remember what it was. Usually something completely innocent, something that wasn't actually designed to upset people. But I just
I know exactly what you mean. I watched a video literally about 2 hours ago. It was a lad baby video, and his missus had bought him a Domino's. And of course, I work for Domino's. Opens up her box, and she's got a pizza there, the one she wants, and she's put a load of Domino's in a box for him just to piss him off. And he's like, "That's the Meteor, that's the one I want." And I looked at it and I was like, "That's not a Meteor.
it's not actually a meteor,
That's a Mighty Meaty." And I know that, and it shouldn't piss me off,
but it does.
but it does.
Well, I kind of something triggered me the other day.
Go on.
And I can't even remember what it was, where it was, or exactly when it was. I can't remember if it was something that I was watching on YouTube or some TV show on Netflix.
Yeah.
I might have been watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the latest
Okay.
season, and at one point one of them said, "You got to fight fire with fire." And that really triggered me.
I can already see it in my mind why it triggered you.
Really? You fight fire with fire, do you? I think you'll find water's a lot better.
I've been on ships that have been on fire. Not once did anybody think to...
Oh, I know, let's put more fire on the fire, that'll sort it out.
Yeah.
Quick, toss flammable material on it.
Yeah.
Douse it in gasoline. Water generally tends to work a lot better. Or aqueous film forming foam.
Yes.
AFFF, as it's known in the trade.
Yes. I didn't know that's what it stood for. I've
Yes.
heard it hundreds of times.
Because-
obviously, because there's
yeah.
AFFF drums everywhere.
That's right, because there are warships that got AFFF fire extinguishers like every 10 metres and big
Yeah.
fuck off drums of AFFF
Yeah.
foam for the fire hoses.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. But napalm, not so much.
No.
Don't
No,
tend to
not
find it.
Yeah. Not once have I seen lighter fluid lying around ready to...
At the firefighting post. Well, I can see you've got lots of water, you've got lots of firefighting
I can honestly see now why it triggered you.
Yeah, but where's all the lighter fluid?
So, yeah. I can see why it shouldn't have triggered you.
Where's your 25-gallon drums of petroleum jelly?
I can see why it shouldn't have triggered you, and I can see why it did.
See, the thing is, everybody in the Navy has to do a firefighting course.
Even I got to do it.
Yes, you didn't have to do one, but you ended up getting sent on one anyway, didn't you?
Do you want me to tell the story?
Yeah. You see, the thing is, as a member of the NAFI, going to sea, you had to do sea survival training, but you didn't have to do firefighting, because what's your job in a fire?
Get the hell out of the way. In emergency stations, I'll go to first aid posts and I'll do the communications for them.
You sit there on the telephone in the sick bay, handling comms between the sick bay and the first aid teams.
Yes.
That's your job.
And HQ1.
Yeah, it's not to fight fires.
No.
But for some reason, you ended up getting sent on a firefighting course.
Yes. Well, what happened was they decided that the going to sea thing wasn't enough. They decided they wanted to send all NAFI staff on BISC. This was in 2000.
BISC is Basic Sea Survival Course. I have to keep translating into civilian.
Sorry. They decided they wanted to send all NAFI staff on BISC. And I had just joined. This was 2001. I joined in May 2001. And June, I was sent on this, or July. It was July. I was sent on a BISC course. So I'd only been in for 2 months. Sneeze. I was new. Let's try it out with this new bloke. And I went there and I did the course, and it was fine. I had a great time doing it. I got put in Collingwood, which was weird because I lived just over the road from Collingwood.
HMS Collingwood is the weapon engineering school in Portsmouth.
Yeah. And every day we were bused to that. And I was put in with 5 Royal Marines. And on the first night I was there on my own. Second night they all moved in and they said, right, we're going to have a shave all the hair off our entire body competition. And at that point I decided
Royal Marines.
I decided I wanted to go home. And so I said, all right lads, I'm going out. And I left there and I literally slept in my own bed and walked in every morning because it was a 10-minute walk from my house. And on the course, I got a reputation because everybody saw me leaving at 4:30 and coming back in.
Everyone thought you were out shouting.
And they've all come from Raleigh in.
HMS Raleigh is the basic training the new entry training establishment in Plymouth.
And so they all know each other, but they don't know me. I'm just this random bloke that's been chucked on the course and who goes out on the piss every night from 4:30 and gets back at 7:30 in the morning and somehow manages
after getting all night in with some pompy slapper
and falls asleep on the bus. So I was a legend. Unfortunately, I opened my mouth and put them straight on the situation on the Thursday.
That's always been your problem, Eddie. You're too honest.
Yeah. But either way, I went through the course fine. We did the basic sea survival. We did the firefighting. We did the Drew, which
is I can't remember what it stands for, but basically it's a mock-up of a ship on cradles that and they fill it with water and set it on fire and blah blah.
In our case, filled it with water. We had to bang pegs into the wall.
Damage Repair Instructional Unit, I think, is what Drew stands for.
Right.
Okay.
I had a great time. It was fine.
Yeah.
So I went through, passed brilliantly. Another lad went through, passed brilliantly. A third bloke, I'm just going to call him Dave because that was his name, but I'm not going to tell you his last name because this isn't.
Was he in the NAFI?
He was, yeah.
I know him. Was his nickname Cot Death?
No, that's not him.
Oh, that's the other Dave.
No, that's
all right.
No, this is not him. But
that's an actual nickname that somebody had, by the way.
Yeah.
Cot Death.
On other ships, he was known as Skeletor. Yeah. I'm not going to mention his name either because this is not his. But anyway, Dave goes in there. While he's doing the firefighter training, he loses control of one of the hoses.
Oh shit!
And it smashes him in the elbow. Yeah. And it actually breaks his elbow. Yeah. But at the time, they didn't know that. They just thought he'd lost control of it.
Here's the thing, right? The nozzles on the end of these hoses. The hoses are 3 inches thick. They're full of pressurized water, and the nozzles are basically
brass.
Yeah, the nozzles are basically a big fuck-off lump of brass, and if you don't take charge of that hose, it will take charge of you.
They're known as the Widowmaker for a reason.
Yeah. You will go flying around the compartment trying to hold on to the end of that nozzle if you're not braced in position when it starts up.
He loses control of it. It smashes him in the arm. It actually breaks his arm, but they didn't know that at the time. And he's like, right, that's it. I'm done with this. And he starts to walk out in the middle of it, and they kick off a massive fuss because you can't walk out in the middle of training.
Well, Well, you can if you're a civilian.
You can if you're a civilian, and he did it. Anyway, a big fuss was made about this, and they checked on the insurance for this, because obviously he was going to have time off work because he's been injured technically at work, and we were not insured to do this. And so it was suddenly like, okay, you didn't do that. We're going to have to send you on another training course. And I went with a load of people who were doing, they were on cruises and things like that, and they were doing sea survival training. And rather than doing it in a river and stuff like this, like I'd done with you guys, we did it in a heated swimming pool.
Oh my god! I remember when
here's the thing: I volunteered for everything on that course because they were like, right, we need someone to swim over there and pick up the person who's drowning. And I'll do that, and nobody can understand why I did that and why I went in overalls and everyone else was wearing swimming gear.
Suits and
But you know, I'd done this before, and I was expecting a lot worse than I got.
Yeah. My basic sea survival course was pretty horrific.
Go on.
Because they do it at this place in Portsmouth called Horsey Island, which is where HMS Excellent is.
HMS Excellent, yeah, that's where I did it.
Which used to be, that was where the first tank crews were trained.
Ah. I didn't know that. That's something I should know.
Because they were trained by the Navy, because they used Navy guns. Those 6-pounder and 2-pounder guns that were fitted in the first tanks, those were Navy guns.
Ah, I see, yeah.
So naval gunners trained them.
Yeah.
Now there's all kinds of things at HMS Excellent, mostly damage control, firefighting, regulating, and gunnery and all that sort of thing. Gunnery's still there, or at least it was when I was still in the Navy. But anyway, so Horsey Island, there's a lake there.
Yeah, I know.
And it's really fucking cold in February.
Yeah, it's really cold in July.
It's really cold in July and August, but it's
but
really
much colder in February. Yeah, I got the lucky bit of doing it in.
Yeah, so that's when I got to do my basic sea survival course at Horsey Island.
Yeah,
and of course they teach you how to get into a 25-man inflatable life raft.
I did that,
and simulate jumping off the side of a sinking ship in a once-only survival suit.
Yeah, the whole that.
But here's the thing: the once-only survival suits that they get used a lot.
A lot, yeah.
They're called once-only survival suits.
They're only
because you're only supposed to use them once.
Yeah, we had to learn to pack them up afterwards.
Well, these things must have been used 1,000 times, and if you were lucky enough to get one that didn't have a hole in it, the instructors took a knife out and put holes in it for you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't quite so bad that they had to break the ice on the lake before we could jump into it. But it was almost as bad as that. So I really didn't enjoy my basic sea survival course.
I had a laugh because it was only just freezing for me. It wasn't below freezing like it clearly was for you.
And then that second time that you went to do it, they put you in a heated fucking swimming pool.
Yeah, that was... but that wasn't military, was it? That was
civvies.
That was a civvy one, and I'm not going to lie. If I'd had that sort of training and then hit a situation like the naval one, as reality, I would be in shock when I jumped into water because I would not be ready for how cold it's going to be.
Yeah. So it's probably best that you did actually get the proper training. Even if it wasn't
funny old thing, NAFI don't do bisque anymore.
Yeah, well, that's what they say. You know, the more you sweat in training, the less you bleed in combat.
Yeah,
and that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we kind of got diverted.
It doesn't matter. They love it. They love these Navy stories more than this fucking PCU
the things
shit.
I could tell them about you.
So, moving on swiftly.
Yeah.
Do you like racing games?
I'm all right on them.
Formula One?
No.
Don't like Formula One?
No, it's too boring.
So you're more like Colin McRae Rally, that sort of thing? Ah, well.
Sorry.
Because Formula One 2018 is free for an extremely limited time. Excuse me. Wow, that is good stuff. From the Humble store. If you pop around humblebundle.com before 1 PM Pacific time, 4 PM Eastern time on August the 10th, like today, it's the last day it's available. I realise that's tomorrow, Eddie, but
it took me a second, but I worked out that yes, this won't be out till tomorrow.
Yes. Although there are a limited number of copies available, so even if you go there now after seeing this video, they might not have any copies left, but they might have some copies left. So check it out. If you're interested in Formula One games, you can get it for free by heading over to humblebundle.com before 1 PM Pacific time or 4 PM Eastern time. So if you're in Europe, there's plenty of time. And click the Get It Now button, and the game will be delivered by way of a Steam key that must be redeemed prior to the 17th of August, because after that it will expire. So free game, and it's, I mean, I haven't played it, but I've seen it. It looks amazing.
It's a free game.
It's a free game. It's a good game. It's a big budget game. You know, it's not like one of these.
Yeah.
Because a lot of time when you get these humble bundles, there's a lot of indie games that might be good, might not, but they don't have particularly high production values.
You can tell they didn't cost the earth to make.
Oh, here's something that you probably haven't heard of because you're mostly oblivious to the news.
Fair enough. Yep. Go on.
US President Donald Trump has issued an executive order banning any transactions related to Wechat, a popular messaging service which is owned by Chinese conglomerate Tencent Holdings. Have you ever heard of Tencent Holdings?
I think I might have heard of them, but on your channel.
Right. Because they also own TikTok.
I've heard of TikTok.
You despise TikTok and everything it stands for.
Yes.
Because you are a decent human being.
Yes.
It's only right and just. But yeah, this also applies to TikTok. Although something slightly different is happening to that.
Okay.
In fact, it says here, announced in tandem with a similar order targeting social media service TikTok, the new restrictions will take effect in less than 45 days. Now, while the order specifically targets Wechat, there was enough ambiguity in its wording to raise concerns that it could affect other Tencent Holdings properties. So while you had never heard of Tencent, or maybe you've heard of it but you didn't know what it was.
Yeah, but I don't really know what they are,
It's just a phrase, name that you've heard, but you didn't know in connection with what. Tencent owns Riot Games.
No, I know Riot Games, yes.
League of Legends.
Yes.
Yeah. And Valorant, which
Okay.
is the new, like, Overwatch/Fortnite.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, doing really, really well. It also owns 40% of Epic Games.
Yep, I know Epic Games.
Fortnite and the Unreal Engine. And it owns 5% of Activision Blizzard.
Okay, that would be World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft, Hearthstone,
Yeah.
Overwatch, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
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 Now it has been confirmed.
Damn it.
Don't worry, I'll make you a cocktail in a minute.
Go on then.
Seriously, I've got a cocktail making kit and I bought all kinds of stuff.
Fair enough.
It's great. You're not driving any time in the next couple of hours, are you?
No. Cool. We're all good.
So it has been confirmed that the executive order against Wechat will not affect other Tencent-owned properties, in particular its video game concerns. However, the exact wording of the executive order is a bit on the vague side.
I always like it when they do that.
It specifically says, the following actions shall be prohibited beginning 45 days after the date of this order, to the extent permitted under applicable law, blah-de-blah, diddly-do, diddly-do. Any transaction that is related to Wechat by any person or with respect to any property subject to the jurisdiction of the United States with Tencent Holdings Limited. So there's a lot of any's in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
For them to say, don't worry, this isn't targeted against Tencent's interest in video game developers and publishers, because it says any on 3 separate occasions. So while Los Angeles Times reporter Sam Dean claimed on Twitter that he'd received White House confirmation that it wouldn't affect video game developers and publishers like Epic, Riot Games or Activision Blizzard, the terms of the order are so vague that it easily could if the White House suddenly decided it needed to flex its anti-China muscles again, and it wouldn't need another executive order to accomplish it. If such a ban took place, the result would be catastrophic for a massive chunk of the video games industry, although Electronic Arts probably wouldn't be complaining. I think Take-Two would probably give it 2 thumbs up.
You mean the person that's not going to be affected in the slightest by this doesn't have a problem with it?
That's right.
You're about to wipe out all of our competitors for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason why the White House has got a bee in their bonnet about WeChat and TikTok is because the order claims that TikTok and WeChat funnel the personal data of Americans and Chinese citizens of the US to the Chinese Communist Party. And they probably do.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm not going to lie, they probably do.
They probably do. As a direct consequence of Trump's interventions, TikTok's future in the US seems destined to be taken over by Microsoft, so I'm sorry, but TikTok is probably still going to continue to be around, just under new management. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. You might think that that seems pretty draconic, but that's the way foreign software developers, publishers have to operate in China.
Yeah.
like World of Tanks.
Yeah,
and
Quickie Baby did a video on his World of Tanks Asia thing, and he showed it, and it looks completely different.
Yeah.
And he was saying you can literally buy every tank in the game.
Yeah.
Because while it is World of Tanks, it's not
really the same World of Tanks that the rest of the world plays.
Sorry to mention Quickie Baby on your channel.
It's fine. I love Quickie Baby.
So do I. He's cool as fuck.
He is a really nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, companies like Wargaming.net, they don't run the Chinese World of Tanks servers.
Yeah.
A Chinese company runs it. They pay a franchise fee, and then they run the game the way they want.
Yeah.
And it's the same with World of Warcraft. Blizzard, Activision have no or very little say in what happens to World of Warcraft on the Chinese servers. It's all run by a Chinese company.
Yeah.
Foreign companies aren't allowed to run their own services in China. Chinese companies have to do it for them. So, and I find it quite ironic that in World of Tanks China, in a communist country, they run the game in a way that you can buy anything.
Yeah.
What? But meanwhile, in the capitalist world, you can't.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, that kind of. I studied communism, and that doesn't ring a bell as to how it should work.
No, I think they turned the wrong page in the manual at some point there.
Yeah, well.
WeChat, however, TikTok is probably going to be taken over. Will still be run, but by Microsoft.
By Microsoft, so I still have to put up with it.
Unfortunately, yes. WeChat, however, which was reported to have over 1 billion monthly active users, although that was before it was banned in India 2 months ago.
Right.
So America is not the first to do this. Nobody is waiting to take over WeChat.
So that's it.
It's good news for Skype and Discord, I suppose.
Yeah, but everyone's just using Zoom now, so...
Yeah. I actually know what Zoom is. I've been using it recently.
I've heard of it. I've not bothered using it. But
it's great for video conferencing.
Yeah, apparently it's amazing for video conferencing.
Yeah,
I have seen videos that people have done where someone's in class and they're holding a Zoom class, and people will say, "Pass me a pencil," and all the students have set this up, and they've got a thing, and they're passing it over to the screen
to the next.
Yeah,
that's really
absolutely
cool.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why I know what Zoom is, because of funny videos.
Right.
Sorry.
That reminds me of that. Oh God, we're going, but we're dredging up prehistoric memes here.
Fair enough.
Do you remember that? Hiya ho.
Yeah.
What was his name? Gary
Gary
Brosmer.
Brosmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Numa Numa.
The Numa Numa song. And when that kicked off, and I saw videos of entire classrooms all doing it in front of their PCs.
Yeah, I saw one, and I think it's still available on something or other. But they basically, it was in a computer class, and someone was at the back of the class.
Yes.
With a video camera, and on the screen at the front, they played that video. And the second he starts doing this, everyone in the class starts doing it.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
It's like it's brilliant.
It was almost like what do they call it? Like a flash.
Yeah, like a flash mob, but
it was like a flash mob,
but without being planned.
Yeah.
The kids all knew it, and they all did it. It's absolutely amazing. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, that's great. This is. I stick to a script. Who needs a script? People are here for the stories.
Fair enough.
Although there is something that a bunch of people here might actually care about.
Okay, I'll shut up for this one.
Have you heard about Cyberpunk 2070?
No.
See, the kind of rock that he has been living under for the last couple of years since he stopped playing World of Tanks.
Apparently, yeah.
So anyway, you all know what Cyberpunk 2070 is, even if this Neanderthal doesn't. And
I love it.
A couple of months ago, there was a Night City Wire live stream where they introduced the brain dance system, and a whole bunch of other things, chats with the developers and so on and so on. There's another Night City Wire live stream. It's happening tonight. It's tomorrow, Eddie.
Cheers, man.
It's happening tonight.
So it's actually tonight, it's not tomorrow.
Yeah, shut up, Eddie, don't confuse them. It's happening tonight, 10th of August, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 6 p.m. Central European Time, or 5 p.m. British Summer Time. CD Projekt Red say it will be revealing more information about the different paths that characters can take, a look at some shiny new weapons, and I love this, more information about how the Swedish rock band Refused was transformed into Cyberpunk's virtual anti-establishment rock band Samurai, led by the rocker Johnny Silverhand. It's taken me back to when I was playing Cyberpunk 2020. back in the 1980s. All of these characters. So yeah. Have you heard what's happening with Marvel Avengers?
No.
The game by Crystal Dynamics?
No, not a clue.
Okay.
I thought we were going on to movies for
no,
a
not the
second there.
movies. Although this is probably the next Marvel, because with the cancellation of various different movies or the delay of various different
delay,
movies,
not cancellation.
this is probably the next Marvel Cinematic Universe thing that anybody's going to be seeing
For a while, yeah.
Have you heard of Crystal Dynamics?
Yes.
Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Yeah. So Marvel's Avengers is still on track to release this year. The new Avengers is a third-person co-op action game from Tomb Raider studio Crystal Dynamics. Similar to Sony's PlayStation 4 game, Marvel's Avengers doesn't actually fit in with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Instead, Crystal Dynamics is telling a story that branches off from the MCU and tells an original story. So with coronavirus-related delays for Black Widow and other future Marvel films, this is the main Avengers action you can expect in 2020.
Yeah.
It's going to launch on the 4th of September for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and, as if anybody actually cared, Google Stadia. Yeah. The only problem is that if you play on anything other than a PlayStation, you don't get Spider-Man.
Yeah, you want Spider-Man.
He's like arguably the most popular and beloved Marvel superhero that there is. But if you're playing on PC, Xbox, or, as if anybody cares, Google Stadia, your Marvel Avengers game won't have Spider-Man in it. Only the Sony PlayStation 4.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't make the connection there.
That's right.
Yeah.
In a display of mealy-mouthed corporate doublespeak that would make Blizzard's J. Allen Brack jealous, Crystal Dynamics boss Scott Amos said the following. He actually said this without laughing.
Go on then.
We happen to be the ones who can execute and deliver when it comes down to the choices of where and what Spider-Man can be. That's a relationship question that PlayStation absolutely has the rights to. That, as you guys know, with Sony's movie rights ownership there, and Marvel with Sony saying, hey, this is something we can do, this is something we can do on this platform. And as creators, we have this opportunity that we can make something unique and fun and awesome. So you can do it on the PlayStation 4, but you can't do it on the PC, the Xbox, or, as if anybody cared, Google Stadia. All of which is a particularly pathetic way of saying Sony owns Spider-Man and is basically holding him hostage so no one other than PlayStation owners can access him in the game.
When they talked about Spidey leaving the Marvel Universe because Marvel had asked for too much from Sony to keep using him, I agreed with Sony. They had the rights to this, and they were happy to go on with the same.
Just pushing out their Spider-Man.
Yeah, but they have to go along with the same deal, with them crossing over.
That's why you don't
and stuff
see
like
cameos from other Marvel superheroes in Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, but Marvel asked for too much, and Sony said no. For like a month, we had no more Spidey in the Marvel Universe, and then they came to a new deal, and it was all sorted out. And I agreed with Sony there. Marvel, the big bully, pushed them, and Sony said, no, you're not pushing us. But this is like...
Well, it gets worse.
Go on.
So, to add insult to injury, they also recently announced even more PlayStation 4 exclusives. Whenever a new hero appears, PlayStation players will get a month of exclusive access to an outfit, an emote, a takedown animation, and a nameplate, and this includes the 6 heroes that launch with the game on the 4th of September. Nobody else gets any of this stuff until a month after the game is launched.
Right.
PlayStation Plus subscribers get even more, unlocking a bundle for every hero that includes another outfit, nameplate, and 100 credits to spend. On top of that, a bundle will be available for Miss Marvel at launch. PS4 players will also be the first to get into the Marvel Avengers beta. On PC, there's a pre-order beta starting on August the 14th, followed by an open beta on August the 24th, but on PS4, 7th of August.
Yeah.
And what exclusives are the PC getting? Can you guess? Can you guess what exclusive the PC's getting?
I'm going to guess from your tone of voice that it's something a bit crap.
If only it was just a bit crap.
Go on then.
PC owners are getting, are you ready? You ready? PC exclusive for Marvel Avengers. Drum roll. Fuck all.
Yeah. A bit of crap would be good. would be so much better.
Yeah, a bit crap would be better than that, and that's less than what you're actually getting. So, fuck you, Sony. Seriously. They're basically holding Spider-Man hostage,
Yeah.
holding him to ransom.
Yeah. They've gone from being the ones that were morally in the right
Yeah.
to...
A bunch of twats.
Yeah, you said it, not me.
While we're on the subject of Activision Blizzard, 5% owned by Tencent Holdings Limited. Call of Duty,
That's going to be your tagline to anything now, isn't it?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh.
You're familiar with
Yes,
the game?
yes, yes.
Or the games? There's
Yeah, I've played
dozens
some of
them.
the previous ones.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare just killed everybody with a 255 gigabyte solid state drive. How did they manage this? Good question, Eddie. I'm glad
Thank
you
you.
asked.
It's amazing how I did that without
I
moving
know.
my lips.
I could feel you thinking it. With the Season 5 update, the game's install size just crept over the 200 gigabyte mark.
Oh,
Call of Duty Modern Warfare just effectively wiped out everyone on a 250 gigabyte SSD,
Yeah.
like me. Not because the operating system and over-provisioning would make that a tight squeeze, but because prior to compression, that drops the game install down to that 200 gigabyte
Yeah.
mark. The latest Call of Duty file size is 242 gigabytes or thereabouts.
so you've got nothing
So
left.
if you've got Windows
Yeah.
on your SSD,
Yeah, Windows is bigger than...
kind of important.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
You can play the game, but not have an operating system to run it with. Brilliant.
One game that takes up an entire drive. It had better be pretty fucking spectacular.
I think I'll just pass.
Yeah, me too. Oh, and that's about it. That's wow. We got through all kinds of Navy dits and stories, and my entire script as well.
Fair enough.
I like you. You can come back and do this again.
Fair enough.
I promised you a
Maybe
cocktail,
next
didn't I?
time I'll get my cocktail. Yeah, I was literally about to say that, you bastard.
All right.
I hope your net shit's a headshot.
Okay. Right. Well, hang on. I'm going to fucking cut this here, and I'll be back with the cocktails.
Fair enough.
And we're back. One dry vodka martini for Eddie, stirred, not shaken, because James Bond's a pretentious twat. You don't shake a dry vodka martini.
Because it's all alcohol.
That's right. You would only shake a cocktail, like this one, if there was non-alcoholic stuff in it, like syrup,
Yeah, because...
like there is in this one. This is rye whiskey, dry martini, and just to add a bit of sweetness, I forget exactly what syrup I put in now. Let's see if I can taste it. Passion fruit.
Not bad, you know.
Chin chin. Not bad. A couple of cherries in there as well. Oh
My
no,
cherries seem to have gone off.
yeah. Well, I'd leave them if I were you.
No, I really like olives, so I'm not having to. Sorry, mate.
Good.
Mm.
Yeah, they're pitted, so you don't have to worry about it. So yeah. So it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Yeah, you see that first
Yeah,
time.
because do you know it used to annoy me watching her get it wrong week after week. Oh, that wound me up.
You see that, Rita? Blind, unprompted, gets it right first time. You're shit, you're sacked, get your cards, you've been replaced. Cheers, Eddie.
Kinky, clinky.
Oh, little pinky out. Ding ding, chin chin. And take care, folks. We'll catch you next time. Ooh, cheeky.
Nice.